Hello, everyone, and welcome to our monthly community podcast. My name is Anais Mares, Health Promotion Specialist here at Siouxland District Health Department. Now, normally during these podcasts, we talk to Siouxland District Health staff on different types of services that we provide here at the health department. But today we are going to be talking about food, our food policy committee, and container gardening with our special guest, Dr. Tom Paulsen from Morningside University. Hi, Tom. Thank you for joining today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, Tom, can you talk about all that you do at Morningside University and how long you've been at Morningside?
Absolutely. Actually, just starting my 8th year at Morningside University. I'm the department head for the Applied Agricultural and Food Studies Department. Our department is really about 9.5 years old. I came here about the second year of the program. My background, I was a high school agricultural education teacher for 21 years at Sully, Iowa and Carroll, Iowa. And then actually was a lecturer and assistant professor at Iowa State University. And the time I was there, my students were here in Northwest Iowa studying at Morningside University, and that's the time they started the agriculture program and got my attention and took a look at what was going on here. I was pretty excited about it, and 8 years later, here we are.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to have you here in the community.
Thank you.
So Morningside has a great greenhouse. Can you tell us more about that, what all you produce and where the produce is going to?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of folks might be very aware of the old Longfellow Elementary building that sat on the southwest corner of campus at Morningside University. The building had gotten well beyond its useful life, and whole thing actually kind of evolved out of our Morningside garden, and a lot of folks might know about our garden on Garrettson Avenue, but the garden actually came out of a student project, out of a course where the students said we really need to teach people where our food comes from, and a lot of people don't understand agricultural literacy. So the opportunity arose for some green space to become a garden, and that garden quickly grew, and we ran out of space. And so as we looked at some opportunities in some of our classes, we actually started doing some planting on the old playground behind Longfellow Elementary. Well, a few years later, the right opportunity arose, and the Tom Rosen family and the Lageschulte Trust came together and were able to fund this beautiful facility that you see behind me here today. But the Rosen Ag Center is made up of that beautiful greenhouse. 3,600 square foot greenhouse with a head house and 3 different unique growth rooms, and then about an acre and a half of outdoor classroom space for other kinds of production of food and small scale research. In our greenhouse, all the produce that comes out of our greenhouse, and our garden for that matter, goes to our school cafeteria while the cafeteria is in session. And in the summertime, it is not in session except for some special events. The rest of the time, that food will go to a number of nonprofits in Siouxland, including the food bank, the food pantries, and the gospel mission, and so forth. But this room, the first room in the greenhouse, is an aquaponics room where we're using fish to power the system. We're raising hybrid blue tilapia, and their waste powers all kinds of production, from leafy greens, from lettuce to Swiss chard to we've raised chives and all kinds of things in that aquaponics system. Then the second room in our greenhouse is a vertical tower gardens, and we just added 6 new units. We had teacher training all last week in the greenhouse, so they had the opportunity to help us work with that system. But we have 30 towers, all in a farm system where we're raising all sorts of different leafy greens. And then the third room is a full production room where we start a lot of the plants that we grow on campus, a lot of the flowers that you'll see on Morningside's campus, a lot of the vegetables that you'll see in our garden come from that production room. Last fall, we raised poinsettias, and so there's all kinds of things that the students get the opportunity to raise out of that production room. So that's kind of a quick overview of what the greenhouse is and what we're doing with the produce from there.
Yes, and I've had the opportunity to see the greenhouse a few times, actually. I think maybe 2 or 3 times. And it's actually, it's big. And like you said, it has 3 different rooms. If someone is interested in, I guess, taking a tour of that, is that something that they can do, or are you kind of just limiting that now?
We do different group tours. If they were to contact us here at Morningside, we would be able to set up a tour for a group. We do that quite frequently. We're learning a little bit more, especially with some of our industry experts last week, how to minimize our insect and disease problems that we could have. And summer tours, I tend to have more problems with that than winter tours. So, but we are open to tours. We're an educational facility. We understand how important that is. Every student in our program has the opportunity to do activities in that greenhouse. And that's a philosophical view that we've all said. It's not set up for the most efficient production, but it is set up for the most efficient educational experience that we can provide. So we're very, very proud of this facility. Beautiful facility, right across from Epley Auditorium on Morningside's campus. If you've not seen it, drive by and take a look. And if you'd like to have a tour sometime of our facilities, let us know.
Yeah, definitely. So Morningside University just recently received a grant, the NEH grant. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What it is, what it means for Morningside University, the community, and any other information you would like to provide?
Yeah, what a unique opportunity that we have at a place like Morningside, where we know each other very, very well on campus. So we are working together with the humanities department on campus, and this grant is a National Endowment for the Humanities grant entitled Rooted. And it's all about place-based education and understanding rural education, rural background, the importance of agriculture and the importance of humanities. A unique combination of groups. And so with this particular grant, we're actually establishing an agricultural humanities minor here at Morningside University. It will start this fall with our first group of students. Students will have the opportunity to really look at their rural backgrounds and what it means to be part of a rural place and the importance of agriculture. But we're going to look at it from a humanities viewpoint. So it makes it really interesting. But there's a couple of things that are unique. Most of the courses are found in the humanities department, and the agriculture department has a couple of classes involved in that as well. But the capstone experience that the students will have gives them the opportunity to get into the community and to actually practice some of the skill sets around industries, agencies, other entities that serve agriculture and food and people in the area, in the region. So we're really, really excited about the opportunities that can provide for our students. And again, those students, won't necessarily be agriculture students. They could be from any major on campus. We think of examples like someone who wants to go into rural health, that wants to have a really good understanding of food and agriculture in a rural place or rural areas, is a great addition to their curriculum and to their programs of study. So we're very, very excited about that. And we're very glad that Siouxland District Health has agreed to be a partner with us in that as well. So
yeah, definitely. You have a lot of, other great partners. That's why I believe ISU Extension. Who else are your other partners for that grant other than Extension and of course Siouxland District Health?
Right. A couple other, the Food Bank of Siouxland is certainly one of our partners. Farm Credit Services, one of our partners. Seaboard Triumph Foods, one of our partners. We have several that have interest. Just because they weren't one of the initial supporters of the grant doesn't mean they can't be a partner. So if folks have interest, we'd love to talk with them further about the opportunities that they could have. The Iowa Land Conservancy, and I don't have lists in front of me, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but a lot of great groups of folks that are very supportive of what we're doing here at Morningside.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, if there are other community members that would like to partner up with Morningside University on this Rooted grant, definitely they could contact you, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So moving on to our food policy committee, we are both on the food policy committee, which serves the Siouxland area. Other members of the committee include ISU Extension, Up From the Earth, Unity Point, Food Bank of Siouxland, and Siouxland Community Health. We meet the first Monday of every month. currently, and we work on basically discussing a lot of different types of food initiatives. Recently, we have been working more on food insecurity and obesity, along with our community health needs assessment, which was just recently completed. So just to give a few statistics, obesity levels continue to rise in the tri-state area, Iowa having the highest obesity rates between 35 to 40%. Nebraska and South Dakota are at 30 to 35%. Iowa has one of the highest obesity rates in the country, along with 15 other states in that same 35 to 40% category. So we know that obesity can be caused by a variety of factors like physical activity, diet, chronic illnesses. And on the diet side of things, obesity has also been linked to food insecurity within the Siouxland area. So Siouxland residents report to our community health needs assessment through focus groups that healthy food is expensive, including fruits and vegetables available at the farmers market. With that being said, gardening is a great, somewhat inexpensive way to get fresh fruits and vegetables. Unfortunately, many do not have the privilege to garden due to lack of space, time, energy, availability. So this year, our Food Policy Committee partnered up with Siouxland District Health's HOPES program, as well as Oak Leaf Properties, to provide free container gardening classes to tenants and clients. We completed a total of 5 classes at these locations, and we had a pretty good turnout at each, with 45 total overall. Morningside University provided the education with Dr. Tom Paulsen, Dee McKenna, and Jacob Jervik, who led the classes and provided tomato plants from the Morningside University greenhouse. ISU Extension provided buckets, tomato cages, as well as printed materials, and then we provided soil and any last minute items that we needed. So overall, I think it was a great collaboration. Container gardening, for those that don't know, is a method of gardening using buckets or other types of containers to grow fruits and vegetables or herbs. Not much space is really needed, and people can use whatever type of large container they have. So pots, buckets, in our case, we used 5-gallon buckets. So Tom, I wanted to ask you, what is your takeaway from doing these classes? Are there any tips you could give people who may want to give container gardening a try?
Yeah, well, at first I'd just say how much fun we had putting those workshops on, and as you mentioned, Jacob Jarabek, one of our students training to be an agricultural education teacher in his future, gave him a great opportunity to help work with putting on a community event and teaching adults, which is a little different than teaching students, younger students at least. But we just had a wonderful time. People were very, very receptive, really enjoyed it. And of course, it was a very, very hands-on experience. We had a lot of fun going out into the community, out into those properties and spaces to help provide that. But there's some great publication information from Iowa State University. We use that information and some of our own, previous skills in raising tomatoes. But tomatoes are very, very forgiving. And, their tomatoes are very smart, and I'll tell you why. They'll tell you exactly what's going on with them if you just watch them. I won't say I can talk to them because I can't, but I can see what some of their needs are as they're being produced. But water and some fertilizer, and a place where they're safe to grow, away from deer and rabbits and other things. But it's a great way for somebody to get started with gardening, and there's nothing better than a fresh, ripe tomato, in July or August, along with that sweet corn, although I'm not recommending sweet corn in buckets at this point.
No, yeah.
So, but it was a really, really good experience. We did this a year ago, and Dee McKenna, who's our garden coordinator at Morningside University, put the workshop on last time, and there was a handful of people that participated, but this time, as you mentioned, in the 40s. And it was really, really a lot of fun to do, and I think help people get the opportunity to raise some high quality produce for use in their homes.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we use tomatoes just because they are a great fruit. Technically, they are a fruit, right? Although some people believe they're a vegetable, but they are a great fruit to grow in a container. Are there other fruits or vegetables that you would recommend maybe trying to grow in a container?
Yeah, peppers work really well too. One of the things we did talk about a lot was companion plantings, and a lot of the herbs. And there was a lot of interest in basil and some other crops.
Yeah.
And, you just grab a couple extra buckets and plant them around there. And, we talked about the use of marigolds and others to help keep insects away and some of those kinds of things. But if it grows, it'll pretty much grow in a bucket without too much trouble, as long as you keep it watered. That's the trick. So
yeah, knowing how much to water and when to water and making sure it gets enough sunlight. I think those are
critical. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Well, I've really enjoyed being part of the Food Policy Committee. I think we're doing some excellent work. We're talking about a lot of things that are really important and trying to implement some activities to help with that issue of food insecurity. I think we're going to continue as a group to expand what we do. We certainly would like, to get our students at Morningside a little more involved with some of those kinds of initiatives as well. And they're involved in a lot of things, but we teach a course here on campus that's called U.S. Food Policy, and we look at all kinds of issues related to food policy and the concerns that we have. And again, going back to food insecurity being probably the number one issue. So our students are very cognizant of what's happening and are very actively engaged. And going back to that minor, I think some of the activities that might come out of that will be some things that will definitely help move this concern forward and hopefully help us find some solutions.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm really looking forward to see where that goes.
Absolutely.
Now, Tom, would you like to provide your contact information should anyone want to get a hold of you directly regarding either the Rooted Grant or Morningside's greenhouse?
Yeah, absolutely. The best way to get a hold of me is through my email, paulsent@morningside.edu. That's Paulsen, T as in Tom, Paulsen T, and you can see my name on the list below, paulsent@morningside.edu.
All right. Well, thank you, Tom, for joining us today. I would also just like to remind everyone that we do also have several community gardens in the area for people to use. Some do have a free, but most of them are free. You can find a list of community gardens on our website, siouxlanddistricthealth.org. If you are watching this on YouTube, a link will be posted below that will take you right directly to our gardening page. And on this page, you can also find information on container gardening and then donating extra produce should you have any. So once again, thank you, Tom. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to Dr. Tom Paulsen or reach out directly to us at the Health Department, 712-279-6119.